So just at the end of the game, Liverpool is trending on Twitter. Okay, we've got a sense of humour, but we'll get to that in a minute. Liverpool won. They beat Wolves, a good Wolves side, which is much changed, by 1-0. These are the type of wins that win you titles, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Liverpool, to their credit, I thought were the better of the two teams. And make no mistake about it, it was not as swashbuckling or comprehensive from Liverpool as we've seen in the past. But that's giving absolutely no credit to a Wolves team who have established themselves in the league and continue to get better, continue to get tougher to beat.
VAR. Okay. As someone who sits on IFAB committees. Used to, yeah. So you know what it happens, you know what it's all about. The bottom line is both decisions are correct.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the first one, the referee's made the error there.
Yes, yes.
And it's not a handball. It just took so long for it to be clarified. And then shortly after that, it's Johnny's toe that's offside. This is what we've become. Do we have to just accept it?
No, I think the technology will improve and protocols will also improve and make the process a lot quicker, a lot more seamless, and leave less room for debate. All that being said, I think the way the English Premier League are using the protocols with all the decisions being made in Stockley Park is atrocious. Having sat in those rooms and spoken with referees in the build-up and in the design of the initial protocols, everybody to a man said it was best for the referee on the field to go to the sidelines and make those calls. Why the Premier League has decided to do it this way, only they can answer. I think it's pretty unanimous in that it's been an absolute disaster to have a third party make these decisions. It's been a disaster in terms of timekeeping, and I think it takes away from the referee's authority on the park. Now, Anthony Taylor's initial decision in disallowing the Sadio Mane goal, as we can quite clearly see, would have been a total miscarriage of justice had the call on the park stood.
The only thing he got right was delaying his whistle until the ball was in the back of the net. Because if he blows the whistle before the ball's in the back of the net, you've got to chuck it off.
Exactly. And given the thin margins at the highest end of football now, and given the rewards and the prize money and all that's at stake, you understand the need to get these decisions right. As far as the offsides go, and this has become... I'm a little bit in flux in this one. On the one hand, offside it's an objective decision. Either you're offside or you're not. And so I certainly, to start with, I felt you make those calls. But given the thin margins, and more to the point, given the time it's taken, I now think that also needs to be addressed.
How do we change it though? Because offside was originally brought in to stop people hanging about the goal.
Right.
Now we're getting into these beards and toenails and armpits and
everything.
Well,
again, it's objective. Pretty much the same way that whether the ball is over the goal line by a half an inch or not.
It's not football, and it's so. I get the decisions that made were right, but it's just not football. It's taking the joy out of the game we all love.
Here's the debate, and we were having this discussion a couple of days ago when we were talking about the encroachment into the box. Those laws have stood and have been, and you've accepted them. Yep. You've accepted that people encroach into the box, and now all of a sudden, when the referee pulls people back for encroaching into the box, you say, "Oh well, that's taken." No, it's not.
Agreed.
So either you address or rewrite those laws, or you find some kind of a middle ground. Now, I'm just throwing this out there. I've not given this a whole lot of thought, and certainly nobody's given it any investigation. What about having a monitor behind the assistant referees? And he has a quick look, and he makes a decision, and it's judged on the eye. The assistant referee makes a on-eye, or what's the description, call as to whether it's an offside or not, and you go with that. Whether you then draw those lines and see whether it's half an inch or
Shaka,
not.
We're trying to overcomplicate things by trying to simplify the things. We've taken 10, 15,000 words out the law when we rewrote them. And that's the big issue here. We just want, there has to be an element of human error, and it's just frustrating. The one thing I would say, 14 out of 20 clubs, that's all that's required. Not 20, 14 out of 20. If they say, we don't want VAR next season, then there would be no VAR. But it's here to stay, isn't it?
I think it's here to stay. I think referees now need that help. And listen, again, given what we've seen from the Premier League, it would surprise me no end that you do get 14 out of 20 clubs saying, listen, we don't want it. But my whole thing is, and again, this is about the Premier League and their option and their use of protocols. I also don't think, and again, I'm willing to be advised on this, I don't think they properly consulted with referees on how VAR should be used. I feel that even during the course of this season, what they've done is, and everything you've heard from them, is addressing the criticism, addressing what managers or fans say. And no, it's a tool there to help the referees, ask the referees what they want or what they need, and build those protocols, build your dialogue around what the referees want to need, not in an effort, as I feel the Premier League continues to do, to appease the fans or to stop the managers from moaning.
Finally, it's so frustrating that we've spent 80% of this chat talking about VAR. I just want to be in a situation again where we're talking about Liverpool, who are that many points clear at the top. We're talking about Wolves going with pretty much a second string and making a right good game of it. There was a guy at the back that was playing futsal for England and playing in Maidenhead. He kept Mohamed Salah pretty quiet. These are the type of things we want to be talking about. Football, not Anthony Taylor and not VAR. Hopefully one day that will be the case.
Well, we will. But let's keep in mind as well that there was a delay to the introduction of technology because people felt, well, we needed bad decisions to discuss, which I never got. I'm just telling you what was said at the highest levels. So now here we are. We've introduced technology and still having those discussions away from the game, albeit a slightly different discussion. Listen, there's going to be no end to what we can talk about with football, how much we'll debate, wrong decisions or right, thin margins or wide, referees' mistakes or otherwise. What we do, I hope we can still appreciate as fans, as neutrals, is when two good teams come up against each other and you have a game that maybe we're talking about something else, but we appreciate the 99% of what happened during the course of that 90 minutes.
Let's end talking about him. A right good player scores a winning goal for Liverpool, who are still top of the table by a long way.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.